my friends. Hey, happy Sunday to you. Thank you for joining us. Here we are yet again. And this is a special Sunday, however. As you may have noticed a couple of seconds ago, this is a ReCollect Sunday. What the heck does that mean? Well, the theory is at the end of every series, we want to take some time to look back at what God's done through this series and have some fun and do kind of like a special thing, shake things up a little bit, be something we can look forward to. Now, do you look forward to these Sundays? I don't know, but we're trying. So we're doing something a little bit different right now. As you can tell, I'm sitting down. That's a big deal for me. I mean, not that I don't ever sit down, but I don't on camera usually. So I want you guys to go and grab something to eat. So I know you're watching this on YouTube and usually you just kind of get that like, whoa, I just absorb everything and like, no, do something. Go get something to eat. Go get some food, something like that. We're gonna hang out and we're gonna eat together. So, cause I've got some pizza, morning pizza, Little Caesars. So I mean, I don't mean to make you jealous of whatever you're gonna eat, but grab some sort of a food item because we're gonna hang out and we're gonna eat. So I'll give you a little bit of time. Let's see, what should I do while you're doing that? I wanna do something that you have zero interest in so that you go and do it, but not so little interest that you turn off the video. So what would that be? I mean, I could talk about, I could just do this for a while. I could just sit and think. That's kind of boring. I could tell you about some obscure, no, some of you guys might be into the obscure things. I could talk about announcements, but I actually want you guys to listen to those. I'm gonna go with this sit and think thing. So literally, you have no reason to sit and watch me think. You should be going to get food. And I'm guessing it's not gonna take you that long, because I know where you guys, like, kitchens are generally like oriented. So if you're watching this in your room, okay, so let's say it takes you a little bit of time. One, you were like, well, maybe he's gonna do something or something like that, so maybe you stop. Now this is YouTube, so you could pause it, but I'm gonna assume that you're not doing that. So you get up, you go, you get something. You're like, oh, what should I get? My guess is, are you gonna prepare something? I don't think so. I think you're just gonna like grab a cracker or grab some juice, maybe a bowl of cereal you were already eating, something like that. Hopefully that started a while ago. I'm gonna say you're back by now. So you got your food, I got my food. We're gonna eat together while we chat. So, how are things? What's going on? I was thinking, so I've been watching the Boba Fett show. You guys watch the Boba Fett show? Which the weird thing is, at this point, it's not even a Boba Fett show, you know? I mean, it seems like the Mandalorian has become the main character. This last episode had an appearance by Luke Skywalker. It was just kind of like, why? Wow. It's like they figured out that Boba Fett is actually really boring. So they're like, well, nobody wants to hear his story. So let's talk about something else. Spider-Man. I mean, everyone in the world, it's so crazy to me that that movie is going to be the biggest movie in the history of movies. It literally is going to outsell Avengers Endgame. Like, that's crazy to me. Spider-Man. Like, and I get it. It's cool and all, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's as epic as Endgame, right? But kind of a big deal. And now they're talking about getting Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man 3, which that just seems, I don't know, that seems like they're getting greedy. They're just, you know, going crazy at this point. Oh, let's do this, and let's do this, and let's have, you know, Andrew Garfield. Nah, come on now. I don't know. That's what I've been thinking about. I have run into the problem of we just finished the last couple of shows that we were streaming on Netflix, so we don't have anything new to watch. So if you guys have any recommendations, like, oh, you gotta check this show out. I was looking. Judy's not a big fan. Like, I'm like, hey, we could check out this show. Like, I did a search, top 20 shows to watch on Netflix. there's this one show by the guy that did District 9 and what was his other movie? Chappie? Did you guys see either of those? Kind of like aliens and like kind of dystopian future sort of stuff, and but some like commentary on apartheid and things like that. So he did this new like show, but it's kind of, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. It's about these aliens that kind of look like dragon monsters. Dragon monsters? I don't know, but they can like control your brain, I guess. But then they start like experimenting on people, and that's kind of gross. I don't know. It didn't, I don't know that it worked for us really. So anyway, if you guys have any suggestions, I am open to that. All right, so while we're chatting, a couple of things that we can get out of the way here. One, Sunday. So you guys know winter camp is coming up this coming weekend. Not today, but next Sunday. So I would obviously love all of you guys to be able to go. If you're not able to go, I understand. It's a bummer. We will miss you. We'll be thinking about you. But we also won't have, I'm not going to be able to do our video. We'll basically take the weekend off because we'll be there at winter camp next Sunday. However, the following Sunday, the 20th, I think, I'll be at high school camp. But I will do one of these videos. So we're going to do basically an online only Sunday on that Sunday that I'm gone. So yeah, so I wouldn't be able to do an in-person one anyway. So that's what's going on. And then the other one is going to be with Wednesdays. We'll keep doing Wednesdays all the way through. So yeah, we can talk about one thing I do want to try and do, which I know is tough for like some of you guys that live far away or whatever, that I'd love to try and do like an in-person Wednesday. Not all, because I know some of you guys are kind of limited and it's really helpful to do an online Wednesday, but maybe like one a month we could do an in-person one and just have, you know, I don't know, roast marshmallows or something like that, and do Wednesday stuff. So anyway, I'm thinking that will come up sometime after we get back from winter camp, especially because we'll be rolling in towards Easter. So more about that as we continue. I finished my one slice of pizza, so hopefully you have enjoyed getting a snack, chatting, and chewing. Mostly me chatting and you listening. I don't know, if you were talking back to the screen, that's awesome. I just don't know about it. So, you know, not usually how YouTube works. Although, AJ's always talking to YouTube. You know, he's just like, that's crazy! And he's yelling at the screen and stuff like that. He's a very animated young fellow, so. Anyway, with that said, we're going to play a special game. I don't know, it's a game. So let's go do that right now.
All right, well, today we are going to do ourselves another round of Pictionary. So if you were with us this last time, this is going to be different than your normal Pictionary because I'm going to be the drawer and you guys are going to be the guesser, but I have no idea if you guess it correctly. So the sad part is you might guess it and I don't know it, so I keep drawing. So I'll set like an internal clock sort of a thing. So you have, you know, like 60 seconds or whatever to guess. If you guess early, awesome. If you don't guess early, I guess you don't guess early. I don't know what else to tell you. So, all right, let's give this a try. Okay, so first up we have this. Let's see. Let's do that. So I should clarify, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this at this point, but a line or multiple lines is supposed to mean how many words, and then a slash through that line is supposed to be how many syllables. So I basically said one word, 2 syllables. So anyway, okay. Oh, come on. That's good. That's good. Come on. That's really good. I'm going to give him a little nose. All right. Somebody guessed jellyfish, I'm sure. And then, oh, let's do this just in case. We'll do like, huh? All right, somebody out there definitely guessed the word spider. And then we're gonna do, huh? Huh? I'll even put a belt. Why does he need a belt? I don't know. All right, somebody definitely guessed that this is a man. The answer is, oh, that says M-A-M, but the answer is Spider-Man. Yay! All right, next round. All right, this one's a little harder. Let's do that. And then, okay, let's do this, and then like that. Oh, I don't know if this is going well. Okay, and then, I got an idea. And then put like, oh, no, wait, no, erase that, erase. Okay. Oops, not that. No, not a laser pointer. I don't know. Okay, we're gonna have to go this direction. Smiley. Yeah. And then put like, and then we're gonna do like a, let's do something like, and then we're gonna, can we fill that in somehow? Oh no, that's yellow. No, don't do yellow. No, fill in, fill. I don't think I can fill. I'll just do this. See, now that's not too bad. What if I do this too? I'll do like, that's not great. That's not. Ooh, actually, no, wait. That is great. Now that I step back and look at it. So, ignore that little squiggle on the face. But then you step back and ignore this little yellow. There we go. Let's get rid of that yellow. That's not bad. Come on. And then we're gonna do something like this. Oh no. Ignore that. That was not good. No, that's not an eraser. There's the eraser. Okay. Then we're gonna do like, nope, still not an eraser. We're gonna do like, boo. Oh, well, that's not too great, but nonetheless. Okay. And then we're gonna put. She only has 3 fingers, but you know what are you gonna say? What are you gonna do? Oh, I don't even know. Okay, forget that last thing. That didn't make any sense. Erase that. Okay, erase that weird hand too. I'm just gonna point from there to there. Huh? Because she does this, making her a. Come on, somebody guessed that was a maid, right? Come on, not bad. All right, let's do like 2 more. How about? Okay, how about that one? Here we go. This is a tough one. Okay, now let's do this one. Oh, and then we're gonna do that. Okay. Come on, everybody knows, right? You can tell what this is, or I could do like the. How do you do? You do the. You do this, and oh, that's so much worse. Ignore that first one, or ignore the second one. How do they do it? Like that? No, that just like the infinity symbol. No. You look at that first one, and somebody said the word fish, right? Someone said it. All right. And then let's see. So we got that, and then we're gonna go. Oh! I know what we'll do. Then we'll do this. We'll do this, and we'll do this. And then. Okay. I'm guessing the first thing someone said was nose, and then the second sound someone probably said was smell. Okay. And then let's. Oh no, erase the pig nose guy. Okay. And then we're gonna do. Oh, I don't quite know what to do. Oh, what if I do this? I'll do this, and then that guy, and then he's gonna be. Nope, I don't think I can do it. This isn't gonna make any sense. No, it just looks like a horror film. I'm out of ideas. I'm gonna guess that someone saw smell and fish, and the first guess was smells like fish, but then hopefully somebody said the word something, and that would lead you to smell something fishy. Come on, smelling something fishy. All right, last but not least, here we go. This one is gonna be. Oh, am I writing? Yes. Okay, good. Okay. Let's see if we do. That's pretty good. Come on, that's pretty good. And then if I do. Nope, that's not very good. Let's try like that. Is that better? Maybe. Then if I do this, and then do that. And then I do that. All right, so I'm guessing someone said sun and not the moon, and then someone would say the word day, right? Someone said it. Come on now. Okay, then we're going to do, now it's going to get crazy. Oh, you know what? Let's do this first. Let's do that, and then we're going to do, oh, this is going to be so bad. And then it's gonna be this, and then it's gonna be like that, and then it's gonna be like. And then we'll do. I know, two suns? What's happening right now? And then we're going to do this. And then we're going to do this. I really hope somebody gets this before I have to go too much further. And then we're going to do. All right. I really hope somebody guessed that I was drawing Groundhog Day. Come on. He sometimes sees his shadow. He sometimes doesn't see his shadow. Pretty good. Come on. Like, this is his shadow over here, and this is him not seeing his shadow because it's, oh, well, I don't know. Nonetheless.
All right, everybody. Well, as our next part of our ReCollect time, I'd like to recollect and look back a little bit on what God's been doing, what we've been up to in this past season. Starting off with our past series, Ezra, right? We've been looking at the book of Ezra, and I don't know about you guys, what your experience was like over these last 4 weeks, but at least for me, I don't know that I had ever read. In fact, I know I had never read the book of Ezra. I'd been familiar with what Ezra was about, but I always go to Nehemiah. The building the wall somehow seems much more interesting than building the temple. And if you recall, kind of the story of Ezra is the Jews have been gone in exile in Babylon for 70 years. They finally get permission from the king. Now it's a new king. Nebuchadnezzar has died, and this new king says, hey, y'all can go back and reestablish your homeland, basically. So they go back and they start building the temple. And that was the first thing that we looked at. The first week we talked about this picture of rebuilding. Then the second week, we looked at the next part where they get opposed. The local people are kind of like, hey, we don't really like this. They offer to help, but really that's just their way of trying to control the situation. They complain to the king tells them to stop, so they stop for who knows how many years. And that was the second part, opposition. Then we looked at Haggai, and Haggai was the one that was one of the prophets that were raised by God to say, like, hey guys, get back to work, like what's going on, and how that wasn't just like laziness, or that wasn't, that sort of a thing, but it was more that question of devotion, and that God calls people, even specifically in Jeremiah. Remember, he says, like, I will come and you will be found by me when you seek me with your whole heart. And that's what he was really after, the people of Israel to be devoted and focused with their whole heart. And then this last week, we looked at the very end where Ezra does show up and says, hey, this is not good. Like, you guys have really, and the specific instance was marrying people that they weren't supposed to marry, which, we could get into that a different day. But the point was, it was disobeying God. And so what Ezra called them into was this time of repentance, turning away, going in another direction. So from that, I don't know what stood out for you guys, but for me, the two things that really stood out from this last series. One, and I think it was the reason that I was drawn to this book in the first place, was in that very first week, there was that image. You guys remember the very first week, and I think it's in chapter 2, we saw they just started rebuilding the temple. They had just laid the foundation, and then it said that there was a great shout that went up, and people were celebrating, the young men were celebrating, but then it said the old men were weeping. And you had this picture of the young men were so excited because they're like, we're back, and we finally did something that we haven't been able to do for 70 years. And the old men, which I'm still a little puzzled, 70 years? So how old were they when they left Israel? Because, I don't know, something didn't quite add up. But nonetheless, the picture was they were lamenting. They're like, yeah, but it's not as good as it used to be. Yeah, but. And so yes, you want to maybe side with the young people that were all excited about that. But for me, that image of how can we do both? How can we celebrate what God is doing now and what God is doing in the future without forsaking the stuff that he's done in the past? Where it really led me was this idea of comparing. That far too often we can compare this season with another season. And to say like, yeah, but it's not as good as it used to be. Or even, yeah, but it's not as good as it will be. Which usually that second one is seen as a good thing, right? That's hopeful. Things are going to be better than they are right now. But the problem with any of that is that I feel like, when are we ever present in the point where we actually are right now? Because like right now, and this is where I feel like this hits me so hard, we could totally do this right now, right? Because you guys that have been around, you probably remember the good old days. You remember those days where Noah and Lot K and Charlie and Uzziah and all you guys were running around like crazy people, and you were catching lizards and you were doing all that stuff. Or if you go even further back than that, some of you guys, right, remember, I think you guys are all too young to remember, like sports camps. That was before my day. But the church used to do sport camps where they had all these kids come in, or maybe Awana. Some of you guys, I think, did Awana, which was back in the day. And we had lots of kids coming in. Kids that didn't even go to our church were coming here to do Awana. And we can remember those as like, oh, remember the good old days? Oh, things aren't like that anymore. Man, I really miss those days. And I think the problem with that is there's some beautiful things about today, right? And we should be able to celebrate what God's doing right here and right now, because we weren't ready for what God's doing now then, right? there's been some things, and I know I've gotten to see some things with you guys, like whether it's on Wednesdays or whether it's through Sundays or whether it was, back summer camp this last year, stuff like that. We weren't ready for that 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, whatever. And that's okay. That doesn't mean that now is then better than then. And that doesn't mean the future is going to be better than now. Why use the word better at all? Why can't they each be able to sing their own song? And we can celebrate now, just like we celebrated before, just like we'll celebrate in the future. It'll be different. And different doesn't have to be better or worse. It just can be different. And that's okay. So I found that really powerful for me. So for you guys, like, I'm curious. Yeah, and maybe on Wednesday we can dissect a little bit what has been powerful for you guys, whether it's been a revelation, realization. Hey, this thought occurred to me that had never occurred before. That's awesome. Or, if it's something that God has done inside of you or a moment that you had with God, spend some time this week thinking about that. What has that looked like? So another thing that I'd like to do right now is kind of spend some time reflecting back on, go even further back than these 4 weeks. Is that what if we reflect back on this entire, what has it been now? 22 months, I guess. I think it was March, early March 2020, right? Was when the pandemic hit, and I remember we were locked down, or at least our family was locked down for quite some time. And I don't know, it seems like it's been a long journey, right? It has. From all the way back then, I remember, and I get a kick, I'm sure you guys don't, but I get a kick out of going back on YouTube. Because remember, I went on YouTube, the moment we were shut down, I'm like, all right, we're doing YouTube. And that first time, I think, did I use my phone or my laptop? I don't know what I used. But you go back to that first one, and remember, I was at home, I was at my desk. I had that software that would do the verses that we were talking about on auto scroll. And so I had to read fast enough so that I could keep up with it and all that sort of stuff. So, man, that was a long time ago. And then Zoom, I remember when our church was like, yeah, we should really get a year membership to Zoom. I'm like, a year? What the heck would we do that for? That was 2 years ago. So, oh man. Yeah, it's been interesting, right? I don't know if you guys remember, we did instead of summer camp, that first summer, we did what I called summer nights. Did any of you guys come to that? I think a couple of you guys might have, where we set up some tables so we could do it outside so that we didn't have to be danger of infecting each other or whatever. And then I think we did one time where we played laser tag. Oh, that's right. And I remember Noah did the laser tag where he would run backwards the whole time. And we did a cornhole tournament at one point. And yeah, I mean, it was different. And it was definitely a thing that we didn't need to do before, but it was kind of we still did it, and that was cool. And I feel like that's worth remembering. Is that not? And here's where I feel like that first part comes into play. Is that so for me? I try not to remember that as yeah, but it wasn't summer camp. Yeah, but forget about the yeah, but. Instead, just to hold on to the hey. We did that. That was nice. That was fun. Don't compare. Just let it be its own thing. So for some of you guys, I mean, this will be your whole middle school experience, right? Because I remember, especially you 8th graders, you guys had just come in to middle school. You were about halfway through your 6th grade year when the pandemic hit. So this is your middle school experience, has been this. You guys are almost high schoolers, man. Whoo! That's been a very interesting journey for you guys. Your middle school experience will be unlike anybody else's middle school experience. Some of you 6th and 7th graders that are just kind of starting this, this is a new sort of phase for you. And this is a new, this is what middle school is to you. You haven't known anything different. Yeah, so I think taking some time to pause and reflect, I think, is very valuable. So, Last thing that I want to do. Well, those of you guys that were there on Wednesday know this already. This is Michelle Cabrera's last Sunday. So we're going to miss her, obviously. She's been such a great help and volunteer. And some of you guys, I don't know if you guys know this, so Michelle started attending our church back in December, I believe it was. Or is it 2 Decembers ago? It must be 2 Decembers ago, right? Because yes, because summer camp. So that's 2 Decembers ago, she started attending our church. And remember, we were all outside, we were sitting out in the lawn and stuff like that. And Michelle's kind of a quiet person. She's not really like, hey, my name is Michelle, nice to meet you. Like, that's not really who she is, or at least around adults. But something just kind of clicked. So hey, I like this. So she kept coming back. And finally, she kind of got to know, one way or the other, she got to know Kennedy's dad and Katrina, if you guys know Katrina. And they started talking, and she said, Michelle said, like, hey, well, you know, I really get to know people well through serving with them. And so maybe that would be nice to do. And so they kind of explored, well, what about this and what about this? And she said, well, you know, I used to work with middle schoolers, and I really liked that. And so we got in touch. I got to sit down and talk with her, and I was like, well, hey, why don't we give that a shot? At the time, we didn't have anything in person. We were just doing Zoom and stuff like that. I'm like, well, we can try it. And so I don't know if you guys were there, that first Wednesday, she showed up on Zoom and probably didn't say much because I talk a lot, but then we started doing in-person stuff, and there was Michelle, and relatively quickly, she had only been a volunteer for a couple of weeks when it was time for summer camp. And I was like, this feels a little weird, Michelle, but do you want to go to summer camp? She's like, yeah, I do. So she came with us to summer camp, and that was so awesome. My favorite Michelle memories, I think. I mean, summer camp, the cool thing about summer camp, and those of you guys that haven't gotten a chance to go to summer camp, winter camp is cool too, coming up, obviously. But the cool thing about summer camp is just the amount of time we spend together. You know, there's nobody else. There's your parents aren't there. My family's not there. It's just us. And we're there for breakfast, lunch, dinner, going to sleep, waking up. Like, we're there the whole time for 5 days. And we spend so much time that, you know, we get to see each other in the mornings. We get to see each other. What do we look like in the nights? What do we get to look like in the middle of the afternoon, right after lunch? Like, all of those times. And it's not that busy for the most part. There's a lot of times it's just like, let's just, you know, walk around. Let's just hang out. Let's just do stuff like that. So we got a really cool time. I mean, one of my favorite moments from summer camp was when we got to have our church time, and we sat in a circle and we just kind of went around and talked about, just some of the things that had been going on in our lives. And if I remember, it was about things that were great and things that sucked, and just sharing, just calling that stuff out, like, hey, the fact that this happened, that sucked. And that was powerful. I remember all of us being there, and Michelle got to share too. And it was a great moment. It doesn't sound like it, I mean, but it's those moments. You know, it doesn't all have to be the like woohoos. Woohoos are great, but also those like intimate, like tough moments where we're like, hey, I trust you enough to just admit stuff sucks. That can be powerful too. But then my other one that I'm gonna always remember is Michelle, when we did our like summer kickoff, or excuse me, our fall kickoff, and we did the laser tag event. And I remember, I don't think Michelle played a single round, but dude, she was like the backstage commander. She was, especially with, was it Hazel? I don't remember if it was Hazel or Leilani. It was a couple of different girls, and Michelle was just kind of like, okay, let's go. And she would go like run, like, okay, you gotta go over there, and you gotta go over there. And she's like barking out commands and stuff like that. And she was just running back and forth and getting them. And I just remember she literally came back, grabbed some water, and she's like, okay, back we go. And then she was running around just helping out. And that was so great, because it did seem not like I really have to do this or else, but it was just nobody told her to do that. She was just having a blast. Yeah, just being connected to you guys. And I thought that was, yeah, I love to see that. And that was a lot of fun. Because honestly, I'm not always like that. And so it's really cool to see that in somebody else. So yeah, so Michelle, man, we are so going to miss you. We're really excited for this new chapter that you're going to be in. She's going to be looking for a church because her boyfriend lives in Redlands, and she might be moving in that area as well, so that they'll find a church that they can go to together, which is, wonderful. So obviously, selfishly, we'll miss you. We love having you here, but we're really excited for, that next step that you have. So with that said, there's a lot that we can remember and that we can celebrate. But yeah, let's move on. Well, all right, my friends, a little bit different this week because we're celebrating. So up on your feet, if you are able. I don't know why you wouldn't be able. I mean, I guess if you're in the car or something like that. But if you're not, let's worship together. What say? All right? This is how I know what love is. This is how I know I'm free. This is how I know salvation. Jesus came and he died for me. This is why I come to worship. This is why I lift my hands. This is why I now surrender everything I am. It's 'cause of your love. My heart, because of your grace, I am free. Because of your faithfulness, there's a song that must be sung, and I will sing because of you. This is why there's joy within me. This is why my spirit sings. Jesus, you're my great adventure. You're my everything because of your love. There's dancing in my heart because of your grace. I am free because of your faithfulness. There's a song that must be sung, and I will sing because of you. You came to save the world, to save the world, to save the world. And your love can change the world, can change the world, can change the world. Because of your love, there's dancing in my heart. Because of your grace, I am free. Because of your faithfulness, there's a song that must be sung, and I will sing because of you. Of you. Woo! Amen. All right. Well, last but not least, I don't want to leave our ReCollect celebration without a little bit of a look forward. Because yes, we are looking at all that God has done in the past, but we're also anticipating and hoping for what we can see God do in the future. What does he have in store for us, for our church, and for Baseline Middle School? Well, one thing that I do want to let you guys know about that's kind of, a big deal that's on the horizon. I think we've talked a little bit about the fact that our church has been in a transition time. Obviously, we haven't had a children's lead in a little while. Same thing with like Katrina, who's our administrator. She just left. We had our small groups leader. A number of people have kind of left, and then COVID and all that sort of stuff. So we've been in a transitional time. A number of different groups were assembled to figure out like, okay, what does God have for our church for baseline moving forward? And the groups came up with this idea that really where we're feeling led is to merge with another church. It's to find another church that is very, very similar to us and to bring those two together. Not in a bad way, not in like, hey, well, we just suck, let's just give up and give it. No, no, no. But instead, almost like getting married in a certain way. Where when you get married, the idea isn't like, my single life sucks, I really want somebody else, but more like, how much more could we do together is kind of the picture that I like about marriage. So kind of picturing that, we entered into this like, I think this is what God has for us. And so we recently approached a church called Grace of Laverne and said, hey, we feel led to merge with you guys. What do you think? And they thought about it for a little while, and then they came back and they said, you know what? We feel that too. And to be honest, this conversation started years ago, like 5 years ago. It sounds like that thought, I think they came to us and said like, hey, would you guys be interested in merging? And at the time it didn't quite fit, but this time it's feeling like the pieces are kind of coming together. So we're gonna be in that process over the next several weeks to kind of figure out what would it look like if we combined our two churches and we essentially became a whole new thing. And the really cool thing about that is, one, the fact that right now, you know, let's be honest, it's wonderful having the group of us that we know. You know, we've been together long enough that we all know each other really, really well. But, you know, like even just like games, there's only so many games that we can play when there's only 2 or 3 of us. So on the flip side, if there were like 10 or 12 of us, then we could do a whole bunch of different kind of games. So that's kind of some of the exciting thing to look at. I mean, our church would literally, or the new church would be 2 to 3 times as big as we are. We would have a bunch of new, although I mean, they're not new to their group, you know, we'd all be new people essentially. And hopefully that would bring us a lot of excitement and energy about what the future holds. So, all that to say, a lot more details coming. If you guys have questions, ask your parents, because I know there's a congregational meetings and stuff like that happening, which we'll probably be in here instead, which is fine. I'll keep you guys informed, what that is all going to look like as we move down that path. So, all that to say, like, be excited, because it is, God's up to something, and it is really exciting what the future holds for our ministry and for Baseline as a church. All right, let me pray for us, and then, we can head off with our Sundays. So, Father, thank you for this last month. Thank you for all that you have done in and through our ministry, for the book of Ezra, and the things that you had to say to me, to our leaders, to our students, through that. And I pray that that would be imprinted on us, on our hearts. It would not just be interesting information, but it would actually be something that would change who we are and the way we live and the way that we interact with other people, and that can spread, can come out from us and affect others as well. I want to thank you specifically for Michelle and the season that she's been able to be with us. The blessing that she's been to me, to our students, to our ministry, to our church. And I just pray blessings upon her as she is moving on to her next season. I pray, for a season of flourishing. I pray that she can find a home where she can be, celebrated and embraced and utilized with all of the gifts that we've been able to see as well. And be with us as a ministry and as a church as we're moving forward into this future, which feels a little uncertain sometimes, but is also really exciting. So thank you for that. Help, again, encourage and be with us through that whole process. We love you, we thank you, and in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Well, all right, my friends, I will talk to you real soon. Goodbye.